Alright, so I trimmed this down to the 1.25 inch length it's supposed to be. Put this in, and now I center drilled this. Show you what I did here is put the head on there, center on there, just use a transfer punch, mark 2 spots, and I already center drilled it there, and I'm gonna got my number 50 drill bit, and that's gonna get drilled for a depth of 11/64, and come back in. I'll run a 256 tap in that. So let me zero out my readout there, and let's go. Alright, I'm going to get my tap set up, and I'll bring you back when we're ready to tap that. Alright, 256 tap. Let's go. You know, I was recently using a 080 tap, and these little mini taps don't seem so mini after using that one. Okay. Alright, that was a taper tap. I'm going to come back with a plug tap and take a couple of more threads in there. Okay, I think that'll be enough threads. Okay, so now I got to move this over, and that's a distance of 22/64, which is 11/30 seconds. Or 344,000. So one, two, three. Alright, there's just a few holes left to drill in the side of the cylinder, and you know, I'm calling it a cylinder, but really it's not only the cylinder but the valve, so it's more of really the block, I guess you would call it. But there's a couple of holes still we got to drill in here before this whole piece is done. So we got to drill a couple of small holes, number 60 drill bits. They're going to go through the valve bore and into the cylinder itself. That's how the air or steam will get delivered to the cylinder. And there's an exhaust port that's got to be drilled out here. That just goes into the valve cavity. And the intake port, which is just gets drilled into the cavity as well. And there'll be a little piece that'll be silver soldered onto there later on. So I already zeroed using my edge finder. I found the edge. I'm using my dial indicator. It's a lot easier. So I found the edge. I gotta go 11/64 over, drill a 60, number 60 drill bit. That'll go straight through. So let's get rolling on that. Alright, now let's move on down the road. And next stop is 1 inch and 1/32. So I'm just going to use the dial, so I'm not going to bother resetting the dial indicator. Alright, we got one more stop to make along this, and that will be down here for the exhaust port. Alright, so we're over here at the bench. Made this little piece. Now I only drilled partially through it. I don't know if you can see. We'll come back, and after that's soldered on there, we'll drill it the rest of the way. So got a little silver solder flux here. Put a little bit on here. And okay. And let's see, get a little bit of silver solder. Now we don't need a lot for this, so I'm just going to cut a little piece off. Yeah. It's basically, don't even need that much. And I'm just going to heat this up, and that'll flow right in. Now I'm heating the metal, not the solder. The solder will melt as the brass heats up. that's it. Let that cool off and I'll clean that up. Alright, so mixing up a little JB Weld, and just need a little bit. I'm just going to fill those 2 holes a little bit there. So let me get something small though. I'm going to use a little piece of a wire tie here. I don't need much. See if I can bring you in here. I don't want to pack that in too much because I don't want to clog up the valve cavity there. So just fill that over, and that's the exhaust vent. I don't want to plug that. So, all right, I'm going to let that dry overnight, and I can come back and sand that off. That's all I need. Let's see. Okay, guys. I think that'll be it for tonight.